Okay, we have a very long question today. I'm going to work on half of it, and then if I see I'm getting answers, I will go to the second half. The question is like this. Is the parallel universes theory true? Is there an infinite number of universes out there with an infinite different number of versions of ourselves? And if so, does this mean we can ultimately get whatever we want from whomever we want? Whomever we want, I'm assuming the person means other parts of us in other universes. Now, let's start with, is the parallel universes theory true? The parallel universes is not a theory, it is a fact. So it is very true. Now, is there an infinite number? There might be, I don't know. I have not seen that many, so I don't know. But just because I haven't seen them doesn't mean there isn't an infinite number. By the way, scientists can explain this much better to you. Now, look at this picture. The lines, the horizontal lines, in between each line is a universe. And the lines are the thin membrane that separates each universe so that one won't just flow into another and then we have chaos. So the universes are literally next to each other, and the separations are just as thin as the lines you see here, sometimes even thinner than this. Our soul, whom is very big, says, "Oh wow, this is interesting," and puts a part of himself in the whole picture. As you can see, let's assume that our soul had a hand like ours. It doesn't, but let's assume that it does for the sake of this argument. It puts its hand right through and is simultaneously in all the universes, or in most of them, at the same time. Because this is how big our soul is. Of course, these lines go on and on and on and on. This is only one small part. But this is how we exist in every universe. Just like this hand exists in between so many lines. Pick one of these, any one you like. This is the one you are on. This is the universe we are actually on at the moment. But we exist elsewhere as well. Now, notice the fingers. The fingers are in the same universe again and again and again. This is what we mean by other parts of us. Forget the parallel universe. Just think of this one for the moment. Our soul has other us, other parts of itself in the world in the same time, in the same space and time continuum. Let's say you exist in London. You do not only exist in London. There are other parts of you in other parts of the world as well at the same time that you exist in London. See, this is why it is difficult for us to comprehend some things, because we cannot imagine multidimensional reality. We can only imagine 3 dimensions at the moment, sometimes 4. But we exist in so many places very easily. It's not as complicated as we might think. The universe exists just like you see it here on a piece of paper. The soul got excited about it and dove in, or dived in, how would you say this word? Now, can we get anything we want from other parts of ourselves? Well, it might not be anything we want, because each part has its own lessons it would like to learn, or its own experiences it would like to leave this earth with, or this dimension, this universe with. And if you can get anything from another part of you, it might block your lessons here. Also, what is there might simply not exist here. The energy here might not be able to sustain it. For instance, I have seen a part of me, very androgynous, so I could not tell if it was a male or a female, and its skin, this part of me, the skin was metallic, but soft and warm, just like our skin here on earth. I actually touched it, and I was shocked, not because it was metallic. I was shocked because it was soft and warm. Who would have imagined that we could have soft metal that is actually alive? Now, this part of me was so, I'm going to use the word advanced, but this word does not really exist in the universe. Everything just is, at different stages. It doesn't mean one is more advanced than another. But intellectually speaking, this part was a lot more advanced than me, like light years ahead. So mentally, I ask this part, do we actually have the same higher self? And this part looks at me and says, who cares? Just do what you want. And then I said, okay, I want your knowledge. And the answer was, my knowledge doesn't fit in your dimension. It's too different. So from this perspective, no, we cannot have everything we want or anything we want from another part of us simply because it's another part of us. Because it might be another part of us, but you see, the dimensions, the universes existed before this. And each universe has its agenda. So it's not that easy to just take something out of there because we would like it here. And to be honest, the biggest reason we would like it here is to make us different than the others, to make us better than the others. This is one of the biggest reasons we want access to everything. It's not just out of pure curiosity. We have this innate need to be better. And all realities that are based on survival have this need. Sometimes we astral travel to other planets, other stars, and the people there do not have this need to be better. And we automatically think they are more evolved, they are better than us, they are pure, they are full of love. They are nothing of the above. They are simply not based, their reality is simply not based on survival. So they don't have the need to be better in order to survive, like we do. So, yes, many humans are stupid, but the human race itself is not less than other races. We have these feelings because of our reality. I'm going to mention something that might be silly, but let's say you move to the North Pole, and let's say people actually live in the North Pole. They won't have air conditioning. They don't need it. It doesn't mean they are less advanced because they do not have air conditioning. They never thought of it because they don't need it. So that's how these races are in these so-called benevolent planets and universes. If their reality is not based on survival, there are certain aspects they don't have, that we have. This does not make us less advanced or bad or a whole other string of words that people use about the human race. There is nothing wrong with us. It will help us to become more aware that there is so much more out there. And then we can slowly start coming out of survival and start going into a different reality to where we can simply express ourselves. This other part of me that I had met and touched, the metallic part, I could feel that all it was doing was simply trying to find new ways to express itself every day. Because survival was not an issue. As for we, try and find ways to survive every day. So, stop thinking that another part of you is better than you, and it's okay to connect with other parts. You will have more knowledge, or you will have more access to knowledge, and then you won't panic. You will understand when you're in trouble. But try not to say to other parts, I want you to come here. Because we do it with the brain. We only do it so that we can be better than. And this causes separation, and this is one of our biggest problems on earth, our need for separation. I think I went away from the different parallel universes now. Let's go to the second part of the question. It might not make too much sense. And is the need to respect people's free will negated? There is bound to be at least one universe where even the most unlikely or abhorrent scenario is taking place. For example, a universe where I am a serial killer. So should I not feel guilty if I decided to embody that version of myself, as it would still exist somewhere anyway? Look, baby, if you want to be a serial killer, go ahead. Just do it. Okay. It's not a bad thing. As far as respecting other people's free will, we never respect other people's free will. We always demand something from other people. So how is this respecting their free will? By killing someone, if you would like to be a serial killer, this is not the only way you are not accepting people's free will. Every single individual we know, we demand something from them. We even demand things from individuals we don't know. So we are not respecting anybody's free will. So there's no need to go to the extreme and say, if I'm a serial killer, should I feel guilty? No, I don't think you should feel guilty for anything you do. Go ahead and do it. I think you should only feel guilty if you have not lived your life. Lived your life does not mean going out partying every night and putting pictures on Facebook. That's not living your life. That's trying to convince others that you have a life. Now, living your life is being you, expressing you, being you 24 hours a day. This is living your life. This is the only thing you need to feel guilty of if you do not do. Otherwise, don't feel guilty about anything else. Back to the parallel universes. This is the same analogy I usually use for time. All time exists at the same time. And again, timelines are in between these lines we see here. And the soul goes in all timelines at the same time. This is why we can exist in the 1800s, in the 1900s, in the 21st century, at the same time. Again, a scientist could give you details that I cannot, simply because I have not studied the matter. But when I asked my soul to explain timelines to me, this was the analogy he showed me. He did not use a hand, he simply drew a line from the top to the bottom, and he said, this line is us, and we exist in every timeline at the same time. Now, again, pick one of these lines, in between these lines. This is our timeline at the moment. So we spread out through this timeline. As we start finding more of our soul, and we start expressing more of our soul, imagine that vertical line again, down the middle of this page. As we start finding more of our soul, we come back to the center, to the vertical line. And then it is easy to travel up and down in different timelines. And this is how we see our past and sometimes even our future. Because when we are centered, when we are more focused on our soul, when we do understand that we are a soul first and a personality second, we are more centered. We come more to where our soul is, which is the now. Our soul is always in the now, never in the past or the future. And as we come more into the now, we can go up and down this line, and in our meditations, in our imagination, in our astral traveling, go to other timelines and see the past or see the future. And I think I will leave it at this, because this is all I have at the moment.